الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء اتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم من يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله وأحسن الحديث حديث محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Respected fellow Muslims, I want to speak today about a topic that comes up in my mind a great deal. And it's especially when I travel, and it's the idea of conquering the shuhha of an-nafs. The shuhha, which is the greediness or the stinginess of our souls. Greediness and the stinginess of our souls. We have this mentioned numerous times in the Quran explicitly. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Those people who overcome or conquer the greediness, the stinginess of their souls, those people are felicitous. Those people attain falah. They attain happiness in this life and happiness in the next life together. الَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ لا يجدون دار الإيمان من قبلهم لا يجدون في صدورهم عفوا يحبون من هاجر إليهم ولا يجدون في صدورهم حاجة مما أوتوا ويؤثرون على أنفسهم ولو كان بهم خصاصة ومن يوق شح نفسه فأولئك هم المفلحون. This is speaking about the emigration of Muslims to Medina. So the Muslims, the first group of Muslims had arrived in Medina, the Prophet ﷺ had arrived in Medina, and more Muslims are still joining them. They're coming from Mecca, they're coming from other parts of the Arabian Peninsula, and Medina's despite its great wealth in dates and despite its plenitude of water, it's a small place. And then you can imagine, when you have one community and it's absorbing new peoples, it becomes stressful for the people who live there. This feeling that they're losing their resources, the small amount of resources they have, are suddenly going to have to be shared with more people. And what does the Quran say about those people? Those people who have established and readied the abode of the Muslims and have established faith there. يحبون من هاجر إليهم. They love those people who come to them. ولا يجدون في صدورهم حاجة مما أوتوا. They don't feel a need. They should not feel in their hearts some need that is being restricted by those people who are coming. And they prefer, for those other people, those new Muslims who've come, they prefer that they be given resources. Even if it causes them, the people who are there, even if it causes them some restriction and some poverty. Because those people who conquer, who overcome the greediness and the stinginess of their souls, those people attain falah, happiness, felicitude in this life and in the next life. And the Quran also says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ وَأَسْمَعُوا وَأَطِيعُوا وَأَنْفِقُوا خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَمَا يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. Fear God, be conscious of God as much as you are able, and listen and obey and spend on those good causes. This is better for you. Those people who conquer the greediness, the stinginess of their souls, they will attain falah, felicity in this life and the next life. Why is this an important command? Why is this an important command not only for Muslims who think about the akhirah, or think about their fate in the afterlife, but also why is it important for Muslims in this life? Why is it important? Why does it promote our happiness in this life? And by the way, these are lessons that by no means at all apply only to Muslims. These apply to all human beings. And that's why you see the same lesson preached in almost every philosophy, in almost every religion that I know of. There's two main reasons, there's two main benefits that we derive from this. One is that we conquer those lower parts of our souls with the upper parts of our souls. We conquer the base and the animal-like elements of our souls with those parts that are reasonable, that are thoughtful, and those parts of our beings that actually make us human beings. They make us the hayawan natiq, as Muslim scholars and Aristotle said that human beings are the rational animal. The part that makes us reasonable, not the part that makes us an animal. In the Quran, we have the idea of a nafs al-lawwama. A nafs al-lawwama is the soul, the part of the soul, or that manifestation of the soul that rebukes, that reins in, that restricts the nafs in its greater sense, that restricts the appetite of self. What's called a nafs al-ammara bisu. That part of the soul that's always urging you to do bad things. That part of your soul that's like the id. You know, the id in the Freudian sense. It wants to consume things. It wants to take things. It wants to get more money. It wants to eat more food. It wants to drink more soda. That the greedy, selfish, consumer part of our souls. The part of our souls, by the way, which is constantly being encouraged in consumer capitalist societies like our own society, right? That you always have to have more. You always have to have bigger is better, more is better, right? That you have to have, and that you deserve more. That you deserve the best. That you deserve to eat a big plate of food and not have to share it with anybody. So when we try to conquer and succeed in conquering the appetitive part of our souls, what we're doing is we're elevating a nafs al-lawwama, that rational, censoring part of our soul above it. We make that the part of our soul that makes decisions. We give it exercise. We strengthen it. And this is a very important aspect of this, in Islam and in many other traditions, that you have to exercise your character. You don't just realize something and then suddenly your realization makes your personality change. You have to train yourself. Human beings change when they habituate themselves into new behavior. So you have to train yourself to make the nafs al-lawwama the controlling part of your soul and not the appetitive part of your soul. The second benefit in this life and in the next life, in the sense that it gives us hasanat, the second benefit is that when we conquer the appetitive part of our soul, we are very consciously acknowledging the needs of others, very consciously acknowledging our duty to share with them, and training ourselves to do so. So when you don't take everything you want, when you don't eat everything you want, when you don't collect all the money you want for yourself, when you give some of these things to other people, you are acknowledging their needs, you're strengthening your love and concern for other human beings. And if you think about, when I was reading this section of the Quran that talked about الَّذِينَ تَبَوَّأُوا الدَّارَ وَالْإِيمَانَ يُحِبُّونَ مَنْ هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِمْ. They love those people who came to immigrate with them. It made me think about the United States and issues of immigration in this country. When is it that you start hating new people? When is it that you become afraid of those new arrivals? You don't want them to come. It's when you think that they're going to take what's yours. They're going to take away things that you have. But God gives rizq. يَرْزُقُ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. God gives rizq to whomever He wants without any account. You have to have faith. Like when you have children, you have to have faith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to provide for these children. This is a great gift that faith gives us. We can welcome people into our communities. We can share with them. And we're not afraid of poverty. We're not afraid of losing what's ours. Because we have faith that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to provide for us. And if this type of faith was prevalent more widely in our society, here in the United States, maybe people would not be so hostile to new additions. Maybe they would welcome those people who come in with open arms and share with them. Inshallah, in the second part of the khutbah, we'll discuss ways to implement these values. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الحمد لله به نستعين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. How can we actually conquer the appetitive part of our souls? How does one yuqa shuhha nafsihi? How does one accomplish this? Well, it's very easy. Through practice. You do it through practice. One way is to teach yourself and to teach your children, because it's better, although us as adults, we may have to improve our character. It's wonderful to teach this character to our children so they don't have to learn this when they get older. Or at least they will have a good head start. Teach people, yourself and your children, to share food. Share food with each other. Share food with other children, with anyone else. And to not have this attachment to their food, that it's their food, and that no one else can have any. Okay? And this is very important. We know the Prophet ﷺ said, "Ta'am ithnain kafi thalath, wa ta'am thalatha kafi al-arba'a." Right? The food of 2 people is enough for 3 people. The food of 3 people is enough for 4 people. By extension, the food of 100 people is enough for 150 people. Share food. This is also a way to practice tawakkul. This also is a way to practice your faith and your trust in God and reliance in God. Try this next time you're eating. Give food to somebody else. Some of your food to somebody else. See if you're really hungry. I always find that when I share food, I'm not hungry. I think I need to eat all this food or I'm going to be hungry. I'm not going to have enough energy to teach. I'm not going to have enough energy to do my job. I'm going to be hungry later on. You start thinking of all the ways in which giving up this food or a portion of your food is going to affect you negatively, really badly, and then you start becoming stingy. You don't want to give it away. Don't think like that. Just share some of your food. Just share some of your food and see really if those disastrous consequences that you started thinking about, see if they really happen. Because guess what? They don't happen. They don't happen. The food for 2 people is enough for 3 people. The food for 3 people is enough for 4 people. And teach your children this. Teach your children this. I remember when I grew up, we were very stingy with our food, me and my sisters. We would not share with each other. And I really regret that. I look back on that with kind of a sense of shame. And I'm always trying to kind of make up for that. And to make sure that I give food to other people, and that with children in my life, my children, that they share food. This is a very important principle. Very important principle. And you see, for example, in Egypt, where I lived for a long time, there's lots of criticisms of Egypt right now, many of which are completely valid, right? One of the things I will say about Egyptians, however, is that they are very generous with food. And it took me, I would never quite get used to the fact that when you're walking down the street in Cairo and you pass some, askari, some guy who's just a farmer from the Delta who's in military service, he's outside guarding some building. They're sitting there, him and his friend eating this full sandwich. If you pass by, they'll always offer you food. Without exception, always like, "Faddalu, have some food." And it's like, it's one of these things, do they really mean it or not? You have no idea. But the fact of the matter is, they were taught, as young children, they were taught to always offer food to other people. This is a wonderful way to conquer the greed of your soul. Another very important way is to give in charity, to give sadaqah, and to teach your children to give sadaqah. To teach your children to give, even give them money, and let them use some of it for themselves, and let them give away some of it. And to teach them the concept of zakat. Teach them the concept of zakat. What does zakat mean? Zakka yuzakki means to purify. It means to purify. You have the right to have property because you give haqqun ma'lum. You give a known, acknowledged right, an acknowledged share of that wealth to the poor. Right? You have the right to be filthy rich. If you are incredibly rich, you have that right. God has given this to you. You have that right provided you give your share of zakat to purify that money, to make that money halal. And this is an important principle because when you talk about conquering the greed or the stinginess of your soul, it's very easy to take that to an extreme and to become almost an ascetic and to almost have sort of this, it's actually very accurate, to sort of have like a Christ-like complex where you just give away everything, and you let someone take all your food away from you. You let someone take all your money away from you. And somebody, some bully comes up at school and takes your kid's food from him, and you tell your kid it's good to share the food. No, it's not good to share your food by having someone come and take it away from you. Right? That's not conquering the greed of your soul. You have a right to your food. You have a right to the wealth that you've accumulated, provided you purify it. So you teach you don't teach yourself or your children to be pushovers. To give things up without objection, to constantly, never be able to say no to other people. But you have to teach them that they need to purify their possessions. They need to purify their wealth. That even from a young age, they grew up knowing that if whatever possessions they have, they accumulate money, they can have that, but they have to purify it. And that purifying gives them the right to own it. But they don't need to feel guilty about owning things. They don't need to feel guilty about having money, provided they give away the haqq ma'loom that zakat determines. That you don't have to feel guilty about eating, because you're willing to give away some of this food to other people. Because you don't think this is only for you. You're willing to part with this. You're in control of the nafs al-amara, the suit in your soul. You're in control of that aspect of your soul which is greedy, which is stingy. So this we can practice this in so many areas of our life. So many areas of your life. When you're eating, share with another person. Always share. It doesn't matter if you say to yourself, I just paid so much money for this appetizer. This is this really expensive guacamole appetizer or something. I just paid X amount of money. I want to eat all 3 of these little guacamole things. Give one away. Even if someone doesn't say they want it, just insist that other people share with you. Insist that other people share with you. When you're, I try to do this when I'm traveling and you're like in a line and you're thinking, I need to get to have my place in the line. I need to get to the gate faster than anybody else. If there's someone who needs to get in the line, let them get in the line. This is not sharing food, but this is you're sharing something that you own at that moment. You own the right to be in that line. You're giving this up to another person. This is, when you're driving, you can be a jerk driver and honk, and what is this person doing? Why is this person going fast enough? Sometimes, let other people go ahead of you. It doesn't mean you're a pushover. It doesn't mean you sit there at an intersection and let everybody go by and you never make a turn. No. But you're consciously giving up something to conquer the greediness of your soul. And if you do this in numerous areas of your life, I think, in my personal opinion, I think this is a wonderful way to train yourself to conquer shuhha nafsik. And what happens then? You are one of the muflihun. You're one of those people who attain happiness in this life. Why do you attain happiness in this life? Because you're not a greedy person. You're not obsessed with possessions. You're not obsessed with your food and not letting other people have it. You're not obsessed with that you have a place in line, you can never give up letting anyone else in line. You're not a person who's attached to ownership in this world. You're a happier person. Please tell me if you think that would make you a happier person. And what do you get in the afterlife? You have purified your soul. You have done good deeds. You've trained yourself to do good deeds. And you've done so for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please make us amongst those people who conquer the greediness of their soul. Allahumma, اجعل أعمالنا الصالحة مقبولة عندكم. اللهم أرزقنا ذرية صالحة. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم. Remember God that He may remember you. وقيموا الصلاة.